Aloha kako guys, welcome to Just&True. I am sitting here just with the poles out on the side of Honoapi'ilani Highway. You'll see some cars in the background. That is our highway. Luckily our highway butts up to a beautiful beach, which is on the other side of me. And there's good akule and other good actual reef fish out there. So we just got some bells up, got some lines out, and we're playing the waiting game right now. But I don't drink, so it's a little bit more boring of a waiting game for me. Trying to kick all habits in case of an SHTF situation. I've never been one big drinker myself. I do like weed. I really do like weed. I know that keep a sober mind is really important, and I'm pretty sure that smoking weed's a sin. I haven't come to any conclusion about that yet, but I can still grow it. I grow it myself, and I won't ever run out of that. It's something that I can always have. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we actually had, yesterday rather, I had a really interesting comment. I believe it was from a brother over on Oahu, so he's a guy over here in Hawaii with me, and he was talking about rationing and the importance of rationing, which is crucial on scheduling and providing an organized way to ration not only your meals and your water, but medicine, and any kind of morale boost if you have chocolate, coffee, stuff like that. Rationing is extremely important. If you have a family, if you're a couple, there's tons and tons of things that you need to keep in account of for rationing. If you don't have a plan set in place to what you're going to allocate to who, then it will just be a struggle, and it will possibly be a fight, and it could lead to even worse if there's no rationing done. If you agree upon rations, it's just like having a evacuation plan or a fire plan or any kind of training or plan. If you set that plan into your mind before these events happen, if you have that training in your mind before these events happen, then when they actually do occur, you're more likely to be comfortable with the rationing. You're more likely to be comfortable in your training because it's already in the back of your mind. You've been thinking about it. You know about it. So rationing is extremely important. A lot of people like to go to the 2,000 calorie diet for rationing and make sure that everybody just gets 2,000 calories a day and then a multivitamin, which is a good way of doing it, honestly. If you just make sure that everybody in your household gets 2,000 calories a day and a multivitamin, they should be able to survive that way. But if you are laboring intensively in the hot sun, if you're in the desert, if you are in the cold and your body needs to burn extra calories to keep warm, there are certain things and different variables that you need to keep into account, and anomalies that you need to keep into account. So I really want you guys to sit down with your loved ones, with your prepper family, or even just by yourself, and ration out how many calories you're going to have in a day, what kind of morale goodies you're going to have, how much of that you're going to allocate to yourself, and your medicine, how much you're going to allocate to each person, or how much you're going to allocate to each infection. For example, if you have a lung infection or a wound infection, you're not just going to keep taking antibiotics, and you can't just give someone antibiotics until it goes away. You have to have a 7-day limit or a 10-day limit or whatever it is. Water, a lot of people like to say a gallon per person per day, and that's another thing that totally varies depending on where you live. If you're in Arizona and you're just constantly trying to keep your heat down during the day, or cool yourself off, you might need a little bit more. If you're up in Maine in the winter, you're probably going to need a little less. So just use common sense. Don't fall to those blank slates, those very standard issue ways of prepping, because they're not for you. Prepping is all about self-sustainability, that's my light. Hold on, sorry. Self-sustainability, self-accountability, and just being able to prepare for yourself. So why focus and why rely on other people's opinion on your rationing when it comes to you when they don't know your situation? Only you do. So get into rationing. It is extremely, extremely important for you to have a certain amount of food and a schedule to stick to, because without laws or without organization, everything can fall apart very, very quickly. You can have fights within your home. And even in worst case scenarios, you can, if you have a group beyond your family, it could lead to deaths, and you don't want that. So make sure that you have a ration chart and a ration and it shouldn't even be the same for each person. Obviously, if you're a 250-pound man, you're 45 years old, you're not going to be rationed the same amount of food as your 10-year-old daughter. Okay, so you want to, obviously children need, or growing children definitely need calories, and they definitely need a more diverse vitamin supplement than you do. But you'll probably need less vitamins, a little bit more calories and fat, protein, because you're burning and acting, and you just need that kind of caloric intake. So get into some health sciences, get some books on what you're going to need, and start rationing what you do. I did it very simple. I'm one person. It is just me. So I basically do a can of fruit, a can of veggies, and a can of protein or beef or whatever it is for the day. So I just keep it really simple. That's me personally. Again, this is just for me. And I'm basically going to live off half a gallon of water. And if with those three things, if I stick to those, and a multivitamin, of course, I also have apple cider vinegar, and I have a plethora of extra moral stuff. But if I stick to those three things, those three cans, and the multivitamin, then I'm pretty good for at least 2 to 3 years. I got a lot of canned goods stored up. And if not, I can even double that, and I'll still be good for about a year and a half. So that's me. That's just an example. I do a can of fruit, a can of veggies, and a can of protein, or some sort of carb, some sort of meat rather, and then a morale. One morale item per day. So whether that's 1 scoop of instant coffee or hard candy or whatever it is, one of those per day. Other than that, rationing is extremely, extremely important. The second thing that I want to talk about is people want to, a big conversation that preppers have is when do they stop acquiring, or how much of something do they need to acquire? I think I may have touched on this, but I'm not sure. For example, some people say batteries. They say that you need 10 of a certain type of battery per item that you're trying to charge. So if you have a AA flashlight, then you need 10 AA's per flashlight that run on that specific battery. I don't like having guidelines for that. I don't like having minimum requirements, because when you put a minimum requirement out there, people just hit the minimum requirement. What I'm going to tell you to do is to have, that will be your minimum start point. That is going to be where you can start, but never stop. Never stop gaining. If you think that you have enough food, you don't. If you think, unless you have, I think I don't have enough food, and trust me, I have a lot of food, and I still don't think I have enough food. I still don't think I have enough water, and I'm one person. So if you're a family out there, and you think that you're okay with a couple cans of water or a couple cans of food and a few gallons of water, you're horribly mistaken. So just continuously be building upon that. Never stop picking up canned goods. Never stop picking up water. Never stop picking up ammo. Never stop picking up batteries or antibiotics, medicine. Just continuously do it. Always just throw a little bit aside, just like you do with your savings. Not me, but most people have a savings account out there, and they'll throw a little bit into their savings. Your prepping material is the same way. You don't stop putting prepping material away. You continuously store up your goods, store up your food, store up your dried food, store up everything, and you continue to do it. There is no stopping. There is no minimum point. The minimum is what it will take for you to survive for the day, if you want to talk about minimum. Now, what you need is to constantly be building that, because it's all about sustainability and accountability, and if you have a family, responsibility for your ministry or for your family. I do want to, and this is me, and everybody probably knows at this point that I am in Christ. I don't like saying Christian because that's a kind of a made up term that we kind of throw around too loosely, but I am in Christ. And I find that a lot of my prepping laws come from the Bible. If you want to talk about the Pharaoh, again, I talk about the Pharaoh's 7-year famine constantly. If you take a seventh or even an eighth of your ration or your food or your valuables or whatever it is and put it away, the Bible even says that. The Bible says that a foolish man will gobble up everything he has, but a wise man will put aside some. So constantly be putting aside some sort of prepping material, and that means everything. If you're broke, if you think you can't afford it, you can. Prepping is some of the cheapest hobby, if you want to call it that you can possibly have, because especially on the mainland. And if I'm as broke as I am, and I can do it here in Hawaii, where we are the most expensive place to buy anything, I'm pretty sure none of you can touch the $10 gallon of milk, or the $5 gallon of gas, or the $2 can of chili. If you've been to Hawaii, you understand how expensive it is here. So if I can do it making basically nothing, anybody can do it. You just take a small amount of what you have. Don't be afraid to go to Walmart. Don't be afraid to go to these places that you have moral quandaries about, because at the end of the day, it may possibly save your life. So go out, spend $5 or $10 or whatever you can, and put it away, because that money, those dollar bills, after your rent's paid and after your electric's paid and all your bills are good, that money set into water, food, medicine, and ammo will save your life. You definitely want to be putting away as much as you can and never stop. And you also want to ration as quickly as you can. Get your rations out of the way now. It's just like a fire escape plan. It's just like a workout plan. It's just like training. You need to have that organized law set in place so you don't run out of resources quickly. On the same line as rationing, I highly suggest, if you're in good health, if you're able to do it, definitely not for children, but if you can fast, start fasting now. If you're a Christian, you need to be fasting anyway. It's amazing when the disciples tried to cast out the demon from the child, the parable, and they said, Jesus, or the man approached Jesus, and he said, your prophets and your disciples couldn't cast out the demon from my child. And Jesus responded, you fools, basically. How long will I have to put up with you? Not only do you have to pray over him, but you must fast. So fasting is extremely, extremely important for Christians because it does bring us closer to God. Any sacrifice of the body that you make will bring you closer to God. Love and forgiveness are the two principles of the Bible. Love and forgiveness. If you love your God, you will sacrifice fleshly things for your God. And forgiveness is just key. Jesus wanted us to show the world who he was, not preach to the world who he was. And he didn't mean show them a picture. He meant be as Christly as you can. People will know you but by your fruit, and you will motivate them to Christ. But also, I think fasting is extremely important because your body starts to slow down its how much calories it burns. You start living off of a lower amount of food. Us in America, we're fat. We're one of the most obese countries in the world, and we eat 3, 4, sometimes even 5 full meals a day, and that's not healthy. If you can fast, do a Daniel fast. Start with something like that. A 21-day veggie fast is great. Just take anything but water, drink only water, and eat only vegetables, which you can get almost everything from a vegetable. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I love meat. But it's a good way to start a fast. If that seems a little too long or intensive for you, do a 3-day bland fast where you literally don't eat anything for 3 days and just drink water. If you continue to fast like that, your body and your mind will start hardening and conditioning itself on a secular standpoint to be more sustainable, to live longer. Sorry about the light. And just be able to live longer without or on less food. And then also, if you haven't tried as a Christian fasting and praying, if you're a Christian, pray for God's and Jesus's strength to fast. Say, Lord Christ, I need your strength to fast, and I'm doing this so I may be closer to you, so I may be, sacrificing once of the flesh to be closer to you, God. Give me the wisdom to understand your word and the strength to follow your will. A lot of people get it backwards, and they think they need to understand God's will, and they need strength in the word, but it's backward. You don't need to understand God's will. That's almost blasphemous. You need to do his will. It's really hard, and the only way to understand his will is to understand his word. That's why he gave us his word, so we wouldn't need to understand his will. I mean, understanding his will is almost satanic. You can't. He's God. Follow his will, but don't question it. I think a lot of people get caught up in the arbitrary laws in the Bible because of these things, and it's why question God? That's how it got us in this horrible place in the first place. So go out there, fast, ration what you have, and just keep stowing up goods and do not stop. Prepping is not a one and done thing. It is a continuous mental state of preparing for the future. The more you have, the more you can help others. The more you know, the less you need. So you just need to keep doing what you're doing. I believe everybody who's on this channel, I don't have very many followers and subscribers, but I'm pretty sure I know most of you at this point. And you guys are good. You're far ahead of the gang than most people, just like anybody who follows any of these channels. But I do want you guys to consider fasting, and please make a ration schedule, because you guys need to ration out your food, water, medicine, ammo, and etc. I know for me, for ammo, I basically say there'll probably be, depending on your shot and how big groups are, statistically now, about 3 to 6 rounds are fired for every lethal interaction and engagement on the street. Now, we can go ahead and multiply that, or even just add, 4 to it. You can go and say you'll fire about 10 shots in every engagement. Either someone's going to hit the ground or someone's going to go running. So just be prepared for that. If you have 1,000 rounds and you're going to be in your mind rationing out 10 rounds per engagement, then you only have 100 engagements that you can involve yourself with. So just start thinking about these. Do the basic math and feel what you're going to need. No prepper's the same. We all need different. We all have different things. Some people have better aim than I do. Some people have longer arms than I do. You're not going to need nearly as much with the Barrett 50 cal as you will a 308 or a 223. So just go out there, ration, fast, and stow up goods. Most importantly, love and forgive. Love and forgive. Those are just so, if you can live your life in love and forgiveness, then you literally won't need anything else. I know that sounds crazy, but man does not live off of bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Don't stow up your treasures on earth where moths can eat your cloths and your gold and your silver will be rusted, but please stow it up in the heavens where no thief can touch it, where no moth can be, and where no rust exists. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I hope you have a great evening. I think I hear some of my bells going off, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Hui ho, and until we meet again, love you guys. Bye.